Telling your story is a way to describe who you are and the different experiences you've had in your life. Everyone has a story to tell about their life. Some stories are happy, other stories are sad. When you tell your story to others, people can understand you better. As a self-advocate, it's important to be able to express the experiences you've had in life to people you trust. That way, other people can learn from your experiences. Your story can describe many different things on topics about you. You can write your story about what it's like to have a disability and how people treat you, your childhood, what it was like to go to school, your family, friends, and people who have supported you in your life, where you've lived and what it was like to grow up in your neighborhood, a difficult time in your life and how you overcame the challenges, your proudest moment and how you got there, your biggest accomplishment or your success story and what you did to achieve it, a person who has made the greatest difference in your life and the lessons you learned from them, your job and what you get from working hard, or your favorite activity and what you get from doing it. Let's do an activity in your passport. The My Story Topic worksheet is a chance for you to choose a topic for your story. Pause the video now while you work on this activity. Now let's watch some self-advocates tell their story. Here are Tetta, Harvey, and Harold.
My name is Tetta Kaminsky, and I live here in Lethbridge, and I'm 2 hours younger than my twin brother. Let's put it that way. I lived with my family until I was 15 years old, and then I went to Mission Center for 20 and a half years. Worked harder than the staff did. And we didn't get paid for we didn't get no money for that for years. And then in 1973, he had a meeting with all the workers, and he asked if we would like to get paid, so we said yes. But you would not believe it. My first paycheck was 25 cents. I went to feed people that couldn't feed themselves. We just couldn't, we couldn't say too much because the staff sort of took over, let's say. You had to be careful what you said. The doors were locked all the time. And if you needed something from a cupboard, you'd have to ask the staff to unlock it because we couldn't have no key. There was a whole bunch of kids. And the one time in Mission Center, you would not believe it, I got 2 staff fired for something. I did. I was feeding, on infirmary, and they had people in as bed patients, and I was feeding someone, and there was another one next to me, and there was 2 staff trying to feed her, and they couldn't get her started. And you would not believe it, but they slapped her till she had big finger marks on her body, and they slapped her till she cried. And I thought, I'll have to do something about it. So I finished whoever I was feeding and cleaned up whatever I had to. And I went to the chart room and I stood there. And they said, aren't you supposed to be working? And I said, I have to talk to somebody. And it's very important that I talk to someone. And then she said, I'll come with you and show me what's wrong. And I took her to this girl, and this girl was about, she might have been 14 at the time. And she went, come with me to see what the problem was. And she was really crying. And here were these finger marks on this girl's body, and she's helpless. I wasn't speaking up for me. I was speaking out for others because I felt they needed more help than I did. We had once in a while we had to scrub floors, and there was one ward that I worked on, and I didn't particularly like working on there because there was a charge nurse. She would assign me for something, to do something, and I'd start it, but then she'd end up having girls do it for me, and I'm standing there thinking, well, why are they doing it? And I didn't ask her anything because I thought they would tell me I'm lippy or whatever word they used, you know. So, and then there was one time I was working on that ward, and she you would not believe it, but she called me a cripple. This charge nurse, that was in charge of that ward, and she was at one end of the hallway, and I was at the other. And I said, and don't you dare call me a cripple, because someday you just might be crawling. And, she was at one end of the hallway, and I was at the other, and you should have seen her eyes. But what was I supposed, well, we weren't really supposed to say anything, but that time I did. And then we ended up getting 13 other younger people, and there was 10 of us still there, and we had to look after these 13 younger people on high girls ward. And I thought, maybe I can get a job out of here, maybe go and clean house. So I kind of thought, well, gee, I'll talk to the the girl that found jobs for people outside. So I did, and she said, if Marianne Beth can go out working, you can too. So it ended up I did get a job twice a week. I'm cleaning house. I was visiting my family here in the summertime, and a friend of Carol's come and asked me if I would ever like to get out of there, and I kind of thought, if there's a possibility, I would sure like to, And, when people were asked if they would like to get out and try in the community, they would say, well, give me 2-3 weeks, come back and I'll let you know. But I let her know in 5 minutes I wanted out of there. But when I got the chance of coming here, I took it. And it was supposed to be 2 weeks, but it's 34 years.
I'm Harvey Toes, Red Deer, Alberta, born November 30th, 1949.
And where did you grow up?
Innisfail, Alberta.
And what was it like to grow up in Innisfail?
My mom and dad used to live on the farm.
And what did you do on the farm?
Help with the chores?
Did you go to school in Innisfail?
Yes.
What was your school like when you were little?
Really nice until it burnt down later on.
And then what happened after Acme? Where did you go?
My mom and dad said to me I couldn't stay there no more. So I come right to Red Deer in 62.
And where did you live in Red Deer?
Michener Center till 1970.
Okay. And what was it like to live in Michener Center?
It's okay. And then I went up to grade 6.
So what did you learn when you were at Mitchell Center?
How to do farm work and that.
What kind of jobs were you given?
Like milking cows, go feed the pigs, and then feed some chickens.
So did you ever, did you like living at Mitchell Center?
Not actually,
No, how come?
because there's sometimes getting nasty at us, and then I went on my own,
Yeah. How were they nasty to you?
like misbehaving to us.
Yeah. What happened when you would misbehave? What would they do?
I couldn't say,
Yeah, is it sad? It's hard to
Yeah.
talk about? Okay. Did you ever speak up for yourself when you were
yeah,
young? How would you do it?
I call them off to the side and talk to them.
And what would you say?
I said, can you please stop that? And then afterwards they stopped.
So when you're on the board at Cars Cougars, what do you talk about?
Different things.
Yeah, what kind of things do you talk about?
Like we can go help out and do
How do you help out?
by sitting on the board.
But then what do you do in the board? What kind of things do you try to help?
Like getting things done.
Did you talk about transportation?
That was later on.
Okay, and what kind of things did you talk about in transportation?
Like how to get around on the buses.
So what do you think are some really important issues for people with disabilities?
I think they can, if they need any help, we can probably help them out.
And so how do you help other people with disabilities?
Like bring them to the meetings.
And what do you do as a group when you're with your self-advocacy group? What do you do together?
We go pick up garbage out in the community.
And what kind of things did you do with your self-advocacy?
Quite a few things, like go out in groups and get things done. I did public relations
So why are you a self-advocate?
to help people out and get things done.
What kind of things do you do in a day when you're a self-advocate?
We go out and plan trips, or as a group goes out now out to LJ Barnes for a day trip.
And in your day trip, what kind of things do you do?
Go for walks out there.
Why do you do stuff like that?
It's a good thing to get out there and do it.
So during the self-advocacy summit, what kind of topics did you discuss?
Like the meetings, how to run the boards,
Why do you think this stuff is important?
because you can get quite a few things done.
Tell me about your last meeting. What things did you talk about?
Last meeting that we talked about getting new satellites in around the city
And why is that an important thing?
to help people be safe.
What do you wish Red Deer would be like?
A lot safer and cleaner.
I was born in Ottawa, and I came to Calgary. Well, I was brought up in Calgary, and then from there, in '64, October 8th, 1964, I came to Red Deer, and at 2:15 in the afternoon, I was admitted to Pine Villa. and it was a Thursday, in case you're wondering. And went to their school in Michener for 7 years. And then I went to, from there, I went to a group home in West Park here, just behind the store. Like, I was 13 and a half years old when I went there. It's the first time I was ever been away from my parents. Probably the best, well, I say it was the hardest thing my dad did, but if I would have stayed in Calgary, it would have been probably much harder. It's just because of there was nothing for me in Calgary. My sisters and brothers were all in school, and my grandmother and my dad were looking after 5 of us. Self-advocacy means to me sticking out, explaining to people if there's a better way of living in the community. And People's First, I've been involved with People's First since '81, and it's an organization of individuals like myself that stick up for equal rights. The Eve case that I was involved with between 82 and 84, and Bob Good from Vancouver was involved in it.
And what was the Eve case about?
About this mom wanted her daughter sterilized, and we were interveners. Through the Eve case. Well, People's First of Canada were interveners. As a group, getting people into regular schools, not segregated, and not into group homes and into ordinary housing, because I started when I went to I got to I went to a conference, or I sat on a board with the Canadian Association for, at that time, the mentally retarded. They changed their name to Community Living. See, that's another thing that People's First, the self-advocates, made the Calgary Association for Community or Mentally Handicapped. We changed their name because, mentally handicapped. Community living was better. And sat and talked about closing institutions and putting other people in better places to live. I think we achieved that, you know, we're people. And I think, you know, in the last, since 1981 until now, I know for a fact that self-advocacy and the people that are involved with self-advocacy, that people like myself and other people like Teta and Harvey Taves, and we might not have the same views, but everybody knows what's going on, and we're slowly getting a bit stronger. People speaking out for their equal rights.
In your passport are some questions about the video. Share your answers with your partner or group. Pause the video now while you work on this activity. Congratulations, you've finished Unit 8 of My History, Our Future. Next up is public speaking.